was looking up dentists. Okay, so by Sunday night, I was looking up doctors. Like, I was like, I need to get this. I was looking up surgeons, oral surgeons. I was like, I need to get these teeth out because I knew it was bad. Okay, I tried to get through to an oral surgeon, and they're like, you need a referral from a dentist. So, whatever. I call up all the dentist offices that I can find, and they all like, we don't have any availability. I finally call this like clinic, and they're like, we're available. We have an opening. Can you come in at 11? I go in. I think I'm actually gonna add a few snippets. I always say this and then I never do. I hope I add snippets of the experience. Okay, so I go.
It's going to be a gradual for me just because there's so much to do.
Oh, and they take a look. It's bad. It's inflamed. It's infected. It's bad. They give me antibiotic. You know, they're like, when was the last time you went to the dentist? I'm like, a year ago. They're like, did they tell you about this? I'm like, yeah. They're like, I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. And they're like, okay, but we're gonna have to schedule you with the surgeon who comes in house to do the work, and it's not gonna be until beginning of March 4th. Did I say it was the 14th of February? So I literally have 2 weeks until I can do this procedure, and I'm in pain, and I'm just looking at them like, what the hell? They give me antibiotics, they give me pain meds. I told them, listen, I'm already taking 800 milligram ibuprofen, and I'm taking Tylenol, and honestly, I don't think it's working. They're like, I'm just gonna give you the same thing. I'm sorry, I can't give you anything stronger because we haven't done a procedure on you, so what would we be medicating you for? And I was like, okay, cool. They gave me a Tylenol 3, which is kind of a little bit drowsing, but whatever. I was like, listen, as long as it works, it helped. So I'll take ibuprofen. I can tell you that basically my wisdom tooth broke off and left everything exposed, so I would have to do little things to like keep it covered. salmon, you guys. I was eating like plain salmon with, I think the grain of choice was still rice. I was able to eat a bit of rice, but very minimal on the veggies, which is why I introduced oatmeal, just that I could have my my fiber content still be good. So it was like yogurt, salmon, and fiber, like oatmeal. And when I tell you guys that I was eating, so I'm a bit sensitive to fish. Like I cannot really do fish back to back, back to back, back to back like that. But I was eating it every day for 2 weeks, and then towards the time to go for surgery, like they were like 4 hours of not eating or drinking anything heavy. I got into the procedure. Now I do want to always share this experience because I feel like this is the most interesting part, right? So I got there. I had my designated driver. If you don't have a designated driver, they won't perform the surgery. So I had my designated driver. He was with me. I go into the room. They're like, hi. The doctor's so friendly. It's always an older gentleman. He walks me into his office. He gives me like a tranquilizer. First thing he gave me was a tranquilizer, and then he was like, listen, just filled out the forms for me, filled out my paperwork for my days off and everything, which, guys, I really had I'll talk about it at the time. They gave me like 3 days off. I really wish I just asked for 4 or 5, but I was so scared. I don't know why I was so scared to ask for more, right? But anyway, everybody made me feel like in a couple days you'll be fine, but I was not fine. Okay, so he gave me the pain meds, and I felt bad about not being, I feel so stupid about it now, but I really felt bad about not being at work. Oh, I'll explain what was going on at work at the time. I was doing this thing where I was helping new hires settle into their new job, so I had given them my availability before, and then I was not available, and it was honestly making my job a little bit easier. I didn't want to lose that opportunity by not being there 4 out of the 5 days in a week. I should have just taken it. I don't know. And I didn't regret it at the time. I didn't regret it even now. I don't really regret it, but in the future I'll know to kind of take better care of myself. So anyway, I thought 2 days. My super was like, just go ahead and do 3. I did 3. They tell me what I can't eat, what I can't do, how to clean up everything after the fact. Okay, I had no idea what I was about to get into. Okay, no idea. And I knew it was gonna be unique because I have 2 impacted teeth. That's a lot, but I had no idea. Okay, I'm going to the surgery. I'm going to the clinic room. It's not even like a surgical, like it's not even that serious. It's just like a little chair, but they do have all the equipment. They have an ox meter. They sedate me like into my veins. They do the thing. There's a monitor for like my vitals, like breathing, pulse, everything. There's a monitor there connected. And lights out, like literally there, gone, back up. I do remember being aware of them getting into my mouth and starting the process a little bit while I was knocked out, like in the very beginning. Because someone's like, as soon as they knocked me out, they got into my mouth. But that is like a little bit of a memory of that, and then nothing. And then waking up, woke up, I was still drowsy. Hey, it was like a sedation, but like for like 30 or 45 minutes. It was a really short sedation. Hey, how are you? I've got all these gauzes in my mouth that they've been stuffed in there. My lips are dry and crusty. I look crusty. And the funny thing is, my hairstyle and everything was like comfortable. Like my hair was not done. Nothing was. I looked and sleeping throughout the whole day, or even in pain, but mild pain, let's say bearable pain, right? With the ibuprofen, I'm in bearable pain, tolerable pain. But when now it's time to sleep, I would feel that. That's all I can describe. I don't know how to explain the feeling. It feels like someone is grating on your nerves, but like mildly, so it's like tingling pain. I could definitely tell that it was like nerves and stuff and blah 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 blah, but it was mild, bearable. But when you're trying to sleep, it's that pain that irritates you, you know. So I'll take that at night and then I'll pass out. And I would honestly, when I started being able to sleep throughout the night with only one tramadol, I knew I was getting better. My pain tolerance was getting better. But what would happen is, what also made me keep on having to take the tramadol was because what was happening is I would not relax my jaw. It would be very tense. I'd be holding it like open, right? And then at night when I'm sleeping, I would clench them and irritate them even more. And so I needed to take like pain meds that would not just like kill the pain but relax the tension in the jaw. Now here's the catch-22. I went back to work on day 4 and I thought that was bad for me. Like in the moment I was not ready. I could barely move my mouth. I was talking like this. First of all, I powered through and I talked, but every time I would talk like that, the bleeding would start. And I could feel it. I could feel the bleeding happening. But day 1 was rough. 4 hours of talking, I went back to bed, and then I had the weekend, I had Saturday and Sunday. But what I can tell you is by Monday I had a full day of work. I had half day as well, half day of talking, 4 hours of talking on the phone. And what I can say is it was difficult. It was painful. It would irritate everything when I would talk, but it would make my jaw not as tight. So I would wake up in the morning unable to talk. Like everything's so tight, I can't talk, barely talk. And then by the end of the day, I can talk, but I got the bleeding and stuff, and I thought something was going wrong. My husband was a good nurse. Mashed potato soup, protein shakes, yogurt. I did that, and then at the end of like week 1, like maybe week 1, I went to the gym. I tried to work out. I did a little bit, and then I was like, no, this is a bad idea, because I could feel my pulse in my wisdom teeth, like feel it. Then I took another break. That was like a week, and then day 10 I went back again. Wasn't so bad. By day 10 I could talk a little bit more. I could do things a little bit more. Everything was a little bit better. My family came out to see me. My cousin came. My mama came. My other cousin came as well. He came to just check in on me and see how I was doing. Everything was good. By the time I was going back to work, by the time week 1 was ending, I was good. So the good thing is, the fortunate thing is, I'd already planned to take time off. Like that was PTO, and so I used it, so I didn't have to work the whole week. And then the next week after that, I was back to work full time. That was difficult still. That's when I realized. So what happened was, by day 15, 16 of recovery, right, I was no longer on pain meds. I was only taking something to help me fall asleep at night, but I was no longer on any pain meds and any narcotics anymore, right? That's when I realized that, you know, that's the sad thing about when you're on pain meds. You think your pain level is at like a level 0, then you realize it's at a level 2. That's what happened to me basically. I realized, oh, I'm not as well as I thought I was, not as bad as I used to be, but I'm not as well as I thought I was. I actually thought I regressed, and I was freaking out. And then I realized I was okay. And then I can tell you that last week, so what happened is my left side healed quick, like 1 week ahead of my right, completely healed. Even till now I can tell some difference, but like left side was completely healed, right side was not, and I was freaking out. And I was looking in the mirror trying to see how it looks, and it was dark on this side and white on this side, and I could still see the stitching. I was freaking out. I was like, I'm gonna have an infection, something is wrong, or something dislodged the clot or whatever. When I would do my cleanings, like the syringe cleaning, where you have to syringe and make sure there's nothing stuck in there, I was like so aggressive aggressive because I thought I was having an infection. I started being like on my mouthwash every single time I ate. It wasn't just twice a day anymore. Like I was a little bit paranoid, and then I was like, I'm gonna start brushing my teeth like with my regular like electric toothbrush. I was like, I'm starting now. As soon as I could like open my jaw and it could fit real well and I was comfortable, I started brushing my teeth. I was so paranoid. I think I did the right thing, honestly. Started flossing, back flossing last week. I was like on it. But this was almost the end of the month. I was like, I got this done for 4th of March, and now we're in like the 20s or whatever. Like I'm gonna start like proper full-on hygiene. No more sort toothbrushes, no more anything. Like up that hygiene. I woke up 2 days later. Everything was fine. I just realized I was freaking out, and it was just that one side was just, struggling a little bit behind, and everybody told me that. So the funny thing is, the one where the decaying was going on healed quicker. The one that was like full on okay was more impacted because I guess they had to dig deeper and take it out. And I kept on googling everything. My Google history is ridiculous. Okay, but that has been my story about recovering from this. I'm still taking care of it. Everything's still a little bit tender. I still do the mouthwash. I still do everything that I'm supposed to do. Okay, alright. That's it for that. Let's move on to work drama. Okay, this is an old story, but I'm gonna tell you the story anyway. Okay, alright. So I used to work in the small office. I've told you this story before. There was this lady who worked there, okay? Let's call it Gigi. Gigi's my favorite name these days. Okay, Gigi was a little bit promiscuous, like not promiscuous, but maybe like trying to get into sex work, but always trying to make it seem like she's a good girl. Tell us all this time. She would front as if she's a Christian woman, and I think I hated that aspect because I don't like to talk about religion and all that stuff in workspaces. I don't like it. I'm just like an old school professional when it comes to that. Like maybe it's because I started off in the science field and like religion is so controversial. I mean, I don't know, like all of that stuff. I don't want to talk about atheism. I don't want to talk about I'm sorry you guys. Wow, okay. I'm sorry about that, but we move on. I don't want to talk about your atheism. I don't want to talk about my religion. I don't want to talk about anybody else's religion. I don't want to hear it. Maybe that comes from like the science field, but in general, I don't like to talk about science. I don't like to talk about faith. She would always push her faith, where she goes to church, how she's just awesome and all this stuff, and I was just like, girl, but listen to what she did. There's this character at work. We call him Uncle. Uncle is a crazy character, okay? He is hilarious, he is rambunctious, he is loud, he is gregarious, and he is uncouth, disgusting human beings. Shares stories about his sexcapades. Openly talks about paying for it, like just the crazy character at work. And the way that those work was set up was there was a part of it that was kind of like more formal, more like a sales section, and then there were the guys who did like service. So he was one of the guys who did service. So service had a different team and a manager and a style, maybe a little bit more relaxed, very relaxed. And then we were in the sales department and all that stuff. So sometimes these service guys would come and start sharing all their madness, and then the manager would be like, no, cut it. This is very formal. Get out, you guys. Like, go to work. Go do your job. But Uncle would always share the craziest stories. He was just uncouth. He was very clearly cheating on his wife. Anything with legs, he was after her. But he almost knew his lane, and he never did anything like super concerning. As I said, he would pay for it. That was the kind of guy he is. So does Miss Gigi not text Uncle saying, hey Uncle, can you hook me up with like a sugar daddy? And Uncle got what she was putting down because she was trying to make a pass at him. By the way, I want to say this. promising him he would pay. That's the kind of man he was, honestly. It was very clear he preferred his escapades to be transactional, you know. So yeah, he was somebody's sugar daddy, but like not like that, you know. He was willing to pay for it. He was a trick, but he wasn't a money trick. He wasn't a moneyed trick. So you know, can give you like, if I was thinking about it in dollars, I would say uncle's the kind of man who can give you like $50 or whatever. Now, the nature of the job that these guys did, right, is that they always had cash. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like there are certain jobs where people always have cash. Construction jobs, labor jobs, generally people always have cash. And these guys were technicians, so they could do the job for the company and then do the job on the side. And they also got overtime pay. And the way that it would work is their overtime pay would just come at any, like, it was so random. So what they would do, most of these guys, is they would have their base pay. Their base pay is what they would send home to their wives. Like, that's what they would give to their wives. Like, they didn't even take anything with them. Literally, these guys would say, give me my base pay, give me my pay stub, and just take it home and leave it home with the wife. And she manages the base pay, and then all the extra money that they make along the way, the overtime and blah blah blah, it's theirs. And uncle drove, so uncle would get a car, company car, to do things and work overtime and stuff like that. So uncle was moneyed, but not like real moneyed, right? But like for a certain demographic, and he knew it. For a certain demographic, for like the ghetto girls, the poor girls, like it was enough. The girls who would drink for $50 or whatever, or even less. He was married, so basically she was making a pass at uncle, and uncle picked up what she was putting down and said, listen. He said, listen, I don't know anybody who's like that, but if you want, me and you can come to an arrangement. We can do our thing, right? So Miss Girl, the nature of her job is, if there's ever like stuff that needs to happen in the middle of the week, again, she's kind of working with the techs. Miss Gigi, if there was ever work that needed to happen in the middle of the week, she had keys, office keys, so she's one of the people who would go to the office and work. Her, the manager, and the service team guys would work. Okay. Uncle has no secret. This is the downside of uncle. Uncle has no secret. When uncle was dating college girls, uncle was telling us, when uncle told us too much. Like, the only reason why we didn't know uncle's real tea is because the manager would be like, this is not appropriate, please step aside. But uncle would tell us everything. So uncle says, so this whole text conversation, uncle spills the whole tea. She made a pass at me, we agreed, she's in the back, and uncle doesn't care. Uncle doesn't give a crap about nothing. He's not private. Okay, so that's uncle. So then, and by the way, uncle says this whilst the manager is there. Guys, I come from a place where labor laws are very much in favor of the worker, so people don't get fired for being unprofessional. I'm not gonna lie to you, people just don't get fired for being unprofessional. It's a little bit relaxed now, but like, his uncle's not going anywhere. His pension or severance package would bankrupt the company, you understand? So uncle's good to go. Anyway, so manager is here listening to this whole thing, and then manager brings it up, like literally asks her, hey Gigi, what's this that I hear about you and uncle having these private chats and private conversations? And everybody's like, cause like the manager's usually not gonna confront people based on like gossip. Then he drops a bomb. He's like, listen, he's like, yeah. She's like, oh, what? No, and everything. She doesn't know that everybody in the office team knows. She's like, nah, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, actually, the other day, uncle called trying to talk to you. And he was like, I don't know if you know, but all the phones in the company, basically, all the phones in the company, when it's the weekend, they route to his cell phone. All the calls, because if he needs to send people out to go to work over the weekend and like things are shut down, they route to his phone. So he's like, all the calls route to my phone. And uncle called trying to talk to you. Why was he calling the company phone? Guys, remember, she sometimes comes into work to do like to open up for other people. So I think they were trying to use the office as a rendezvous point. And once the manager clocked it, he checked them. And obviously the manager was checking, because if you guys start having relations and you all start feuding, it's gonna be on him. He's gonna be the one who has to resolve it. And again, as I said, labor laws lean in the favor of the employees. So more than likely they would get a warning, they wouldn't get fired, and la 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 la. So manager just called it out like, nah. And then she was like, oh, I don't even know why he was calling. Oh, I don't even know why he was calling. She's like, yeah. He was just like, you know what was funny is that he called, he asked for you. I was like, huh? And he was like, and he hung up. He didn't even finish the call, so why was he hanging up? She was like, I don't even know. And he's like, why can't she just... So then one of my other coworkers is like, wait, if he's calling about work stuff, why can't he just call your phone directly? He's got your number, right? And she's like, I don't even know. She's like, it's funny because he called me later on my actual number and said that a man answered my phone, like that kind of thing, like my husband answered the phone. And I was like, huh? But if it's about work and it's innocent, what's wrong with your husband answering the phone? And she's like, oh, I don't know why he was saying that, because he knows my husband, so I don't even know what the issue is. Like, she's trying to cover her tracks, but she didn't know that everybody knew the backstory. Okay, tell us all this time. Now, I don't know if they ever hooked up or whatever. If they did, it is what it is. and Miss B2. Oh no, that sounds like nasty. Okay, Miss K1 and Miss K2. Miss K1 will like literally go into the group chat that is the four of us and be like, hey Miss K2. And then Miss K2 be like, hey girl. And then we will come in, the other girl and I be like, hey ladies, how you guys doing? And that kind of thing. But like if I start and I go in, hey ladies, how are you doing? Crickets. So we are where we thought we were gonna be, where people feel like they're not in the same lane with me, so they don't want to hang with me or whatever. Or me and the other girl. Because what happened is, how do I know that the girl's doing well? First of all, I check her stats, so you can actually see people's stats. But we are both now in the safety team. I was in the safety team pretty early, and now she's also been in the safety team. Doing little things like that, where you get to join particular teams and help out and things like that, is based on how well you're doing and anything. So I work customer service, so anything that takes you off of the phone Oh, and then I put it through to the supervisor. So when you put someone through to the supervisor, you gotta let the supervisor know, hey, this person's on the line and everything. So I'm like, hey ma'am, I got a supervisor on the line for you. They're gonna help you. She's like, yeah, because you were no help. I'm so glad she said that and had that attitude, because I didn't want the supervisor to be like, well, what the hell's like, I wanted her to like catch the attitude, because what happens with customers sometimes that they're so nasty with you, and then when you put the supervisor on the phone, they're so mellow, and now the supervisor's kind of like, she was so rude to you, I'm so sorry, that kind of thing. But I'm like, I never fall for it. There was a customer was like, oh my god, this person was so rude to me, and I was like, and yeah, you seem like you have better information. I'm like, really? You were rude to that first person who spoke with you and they hung up on you, and now you're coming correct, which is what always happens. Guys, I barely ever hang up on customers. Oh, I had another customer who was like, can you give me like a break, give me more time or something, and I was like, no. He's like, I always call, I always get more time, and I was like, yeah, but you've only got so many chances of like negotiating things before it's a wrap. He's like, I'm just gonna hang up and call back and talk to somebody else. And I was like, okay. And then I had somebody today who was, there are times when someone calls and they don't have the intention of talking with you. They're just mad and they want to take it out on you. And sometimes you listen and you get a resolve, and sometimes you listen and you don't get a resolve. There was a lady who was just going off on me, and I was like, this is the way the process works. I didn't even get to the point where I could like offer her any solutions. She actually had a lot of solutions available to her to help with the situation, but this was the second time she was calling with a nasty attitude. And so, second time you're calling in a short time and you're not getting the help that you need, and there are actually help opportunities available for you. She hung up on me and said she was gonna call the attorney general or call her attorney, whatever. I'm just like, and this is after she was like on assistance, so I'm like, we have things we can help you with, but like, you can't call me and yell at me the entire time and hang up. And 5 days ago you did the same thing. You called, you yelled at somebody, you hung up. Like, when are you ever gonna let us offer you solutions or talk with you? I guess she wanted the reason why she had the situation to be different, and every time the reason is the same, she's getting madder. I had another gentleman who was the same way. He was like, the last person I spoke to was very rude. They said the reason why the electric bill was so high is because it's been it's your property that's damaged, we can put in a claim for it to be fixed. And he was like, it's not my property, and the person who lived there moved, but I want him to fix this. I know who the guy is. I'm like, he was like, oh, and when he did this, he started laughing. I'm like, yeah, like, I get it that like it's not funny when you're seeing it, but like these guys are trying to maneuver tight spaces, awkward spaces to get their equipment to where they need it to be to fix something. Sometimes they run over your flower bed, or the quality of the truck, it can be a big truck and you have a very fragile driveway, messed up your driveway, whatever happens, right? Or they hit a pole that they shouldn't hit and it needs fixed. Get it, but it has to be your property that you're asking us to fix. And then two, you can't then go in and harass these people who are out there doing work, especially in this country, guys. People and their guns, harassment, like we take it very seriously. I'm like, he's like, I know his plate number, I know his this. I'm like, yeah, I get it that he's like, I just want him to come and take money out of his pocket and fix it. I'm like, no employee is gonna take money out of their own pocket to fix something that happened at work. It's corporate responsibility. But at the same time, like, what's your problem? Because this is not your property that you're going on and on about. It's not your property that you want us to fix. And the person whose property it was not bothered by the issue. So what's your issue, right? Because if the owner of the property is not bothered by it, then that's like you getting into a car wreck, right? And then getting somebody's insurance, but then not using it because you just don't care. And a witness demanding that somebody fix your car with your insurance, with their insurance, and you're like, nah, my insurance covers it, so I'm not even gonna pursue yours. I don't care. Like, you're a